find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hello and welcome to Bones Radio, the only radio with 206 bones. I'm your host, Skeleton Sophie.
Howdy there, this is Cranium Katelyn. And it only took me 55 years to get my radio voice right and ready. An actor is always ready, and I failed myself today.
Well, good thing we're already in the grave. We're coming at you live from a tomb. Deep in a swampy cemetery.
Yeah, we lugged all our audio equipment here. It's been a real nightmare getting this all set up. So I'm glad to be getting going here.
I got bit by an alligator. A living alligator, not a dead alligator. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Ghosts I can handle, alligators I can handle, but a ghostly alligator, get me out of here.
In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers. The joy alone, bring anything bones. Three gals with deadly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie Turnup Schwartz.
And I'm Katelyn, Horrific Mansion, again, Heart. And you're listening to the podcast where we talk bones, bone-related topics, and all things Halloween.
Spooky, scary, approacheth.
Yeah, we're right on that holiday weekend before Halloween. We're getting real close to it. And I got real close to carving a pumpkin the other night, but it was raining, so I decided not to go out and get one.
I have not yet carved a pumpkin either. I need to do that. Maybe that's what we'll do on Halloween. Watch spooky movies and carve pumpkins.
Yeah, it's always good to pair a scary movie with a knife. Carve out your feelings in the pumpkin.
Oh, yeah. I got big feelings that this pumpkin is not going to be able to handle.
The pumpkins I've carved have always been kind of rudimentary. I don't really have the skills with a knife to be like super creative with a jack-o'-lantern.
I have always liked the classic jack-o'-lantern design myself, and I've always been big into carving pumpkins. It's something we always did as a family when I was a little kid. And I do remember us trying like some sort of stencil, like a cat and a moon kind of deal.
That sounds cool.
But it is hard. Like those little like carving kits that you buy at like, you know, Safeway or whatever, QFC, they do not have the force and the tensile strength to cut a pumpkin. Like,
no, those knives always are terrible.
It's a blatant lie. They will bend the minute you try to fucking get in there with the pumpkin. And so then you're standing there with the fucking like real ass knives and your parents are like, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. They're like, can't we do it for you? No, I want to do it.
You'd ruin the fun of it.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about the pumpkin goo? The inside with the seeds and the guts.
I've always found it very like satisfying. It's just like a nice little project. And then more later in life, I discovered that pumpkin seeds are actually pretty delicious if you roast those up with a little salt.
Oh my God, yes. That's a little culinary treat I want on Halloween this year.
Yeah, and I guess like to get there, you have to carve a pumpkin, so.
Oh no!
Or just buy them. You know, I'm sure they sell just as good of pumpkin seeds as you can make yourself.
But will they taste as good if you haven't harvested them from the gourd yourself?
No.
I'm a big proponent of get into that pumpkin with both hands. Really squish it around.
I like to loosen it up with a spoon because
Yes.
those and then those scoopers that they give you in the carving kit, you can't really do any scraping with those. It's really just a scoop.
Yeah. Again, no substantive work can be done with the pumpkin carving kit made for children. But, maybe we should have seen that one coming. If it can't carve you, it probably can't carve a pumpkin. So many fun fall activities to look forward to.
We really do have a lot of fun fall activities to go to. I, myself, am going to a haunted corn maze tomorrow.
What makes the corn maze haunted, Caitlin?
I'm pretty sure people are going to jump out at me.
Oh, I'm not sure I like that.
Yeah, I will be okay.
What is your reaction to being scared like that?
It's going to be terrifying. It's going to be like when I see a scary movie. I usually just sit there cringing the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, Caitlin, Chris, Joe, and I watched a scary movie together called Totally Killer.
It was so good.
It was so much fun. It's kind of a time travel and slashery type movie. It's not that scary. So if you're not...
No, it was tame.
Yeah. So if you're not that big into scary movies, this is a fun one. It stars What's-Her-Bucket from Sabrina, the new Sabrina.
Yeah, the new Sabrina.
We won't spoil it here, but highly recommend.
Yeah, it was good.
And it was fun to see Caitlin doing a bit of cringe in the tense moments.
Well, yeah, I don't like to look directly at it when something really gory is happening.
Yeah, there was a heads up. There's a bit of gore in this one.
Well, and I would say it's no scarier than the Scream movies. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and lots of send-ups to Scream as well. So if you're a fan of classic horror tropes, I think you'll very much enjoy this. And time travel tropes. Caitlin knows I love a time travel movie.
We went Back to the Future a few times
Yes, we
over
did.
the years, and you like that one.
Oh, I love that one. It's one of my faves. So the combination of horror, which is one of my new favorite genres, which is hilarious given how I look, dress, act, and my interests. But horror and time travel, apparently they make a good pair.
Yeah, and I think we watched it on Amazon or something. It was good.
Yeah, it was real good. Chris did all the, I was going to say mechanics, tech stuff. He's very tech savvy. He figured it all out.
Yeah, we did a virtual watch. It was fun.
Yeah. We have to do that again sometime.
Watch more movies with your friends.
Talk over more movies with your friends.
Yeah. Turn those subtitles on because you're not hearing shit.
Not in my house. I have opinions.
So speaking of haunted activities, like a haunted corn maze where people will jump out at you,
Bah.
that's called, in the world of haunted houses, that's called a boo haunt.
A boo haunt, eh?
Mm-hmm. I've learned that in my research for today's topic.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're doing it?
Yeah.
All right. I'm strapping in. I think I know what might be coming. Give it to me.
Yeah. I'll just get into it. The sources for this: History.com, The Guardian, Tennessean.com, Country Living, which was a surprise, and then a video from a YouTuber called Wendigoon. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. So, I'm going to be talking today a little bit about haunted houses as a concept. And then I'm going to talk about one of the most extreme examples of a haunted house, which is McKamey Manor.
Yes. We have to talk about this.
We have to talk about it. The documentary just came out on Hulu. So now that I've told you what I'm covering, that's also a source. The documentary is called Monster Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted House, and it's on Hulu. If you have a strong stomach and are interested in this topic, yeah, I did watch it. So people don't have to if you don't want to, because I'm going to tell you about it here. But if you think you can handle it, it made me feel real weird. I'm going to take you way, way back to the 1800s, where our first kind of example of a haunted attraction in Europe is, of course, Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London.
Oh.
Yeah, Because it had wax figures of like famous people, of course, but it also had a chamber of horrors with decapitated people who were part of the French Revolution.
Okay, now I do actually kind of remember that about Madame Tussauds, that like wax museums always have a scary part.
Well, yeah, and I'm pretty sure they would have like death masks of publicly known killers. I almost said popular, but it's like they're not popular, you know what I mean?
If you ask some people.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
In 1915, we also get some unnamed British amusement ride manufacturer, which created like a haunted house with lights that were able to dim, like shaking floors and like screaming.
That sounds fun other than the screaming. I'll pass on the screaming.
Maybe not. Shaking, cool.
Like, everybody calm down. It's just a little rumble house.
So this is how, like, the idea of a haunted attraction or some kind of, like, walk-through feature started to creep into the public's, like, knowledge and, like, lives. So American haunted houses in these early 1900s were, like, small little things that were in mostly residential areas.
Ooh.
Just, like, neighbors would get together and, like, put together this walk-through attraction.
Oh, that's fun.
And then, like, larger companies or organizations started hosting them as, like, you know, commercially.
Did you ever have a neighbor that put on a haunted house?
I did. Yeah, I did. It wasn't, like, inside their house, but there was a outside portion where people would jump out at you. It was really fun.
That is super fun. There was a place called the Downs.
Okay.
In the town that I grew up in. That was like the really ultra rich people area. And I remember one year there was a haunted house there. And I can't remember if we had to pay to get in, but I remember it had the whole 9 yards of like, you had to actually crawl through. It was made of like those tunnels for like cats and dogs.
Oh,
you know?
God. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like almost like a parachute material or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to like crawl through, and they were like little rooms with like the bowls of peeled grapes and the spaghetti.
Yeah. Cute.
And like,
that's fun.
Yeah. And like a middle-aged man would like pop out at you wearing a Dracula cape and be like, "What?"
Sure. Yeah.
It was great.
And you're like, this is what I signed up for.
This is the height of adrenaline for 9-year-old Sophie.
And I'm like wired on sugar, so it's all good.
Oh, yeah. I got pockets full of Kit Kats.
So we've got haunted houses becoming more of a like popular attraction in Europe and then in America. Halloween, you know, Halloween.
I made a jazzy gesture with my hands.
So Halloween was typically like, quote, a night of revelry for adults and children, seen as a positive outlet for young men to blow off steam.
That sounds like trouble to me.
It was all fine, and then suddenly it was that.
Why is it always suddenly it's that?
So apparently their antics would range from like stealing gates off of their hinges to just like straight up grave robbing.
Dude, come on.
So apparently in 1879, 200 boys in Kentucky stopped a train by putting a fake body across the railroad tracks.
Guys,
so they
that
like
ain't
stole
cool.
a body and put it across the tracks.
You guys, that's
I was just really reading that, and I don't understand how 200 boys were involved in that, but maybe it was more of like a group effort is what they're trying to say.
It's fucking boy math. Apparently it takes 200 boys to dig up one body and put it on the railroad tracks.
Apparently. I don't know. And then there's an anecdote about in the year 1900, the University of Michigan, some students stole a headless corpse from the anatomy lab and like put it outside, like propped up.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, guys, like
I bet they were real proud of that one.
I bet. And it's like, okay, like a few little pranks here and there, but you take it too far.
Well, this is also 1900. Like, they freshly were able to have that body legally. Like, you're so, like, dancing with the devil here, guys. It was like 10 years ago you had to, like, grave rob your bodies. Be grateful, medical students from 1900.
Well, apparently some people were worried about the effect that this, all of this had on Halloween and on the boys.
Oh, yes, the boys. What is the effect that the boys' own actions is having on the boys?
Quote. This is the only evening on which a boy can feel free to play pranks outdoors without danger of being pinched. And it is his delight to scare passing pedestrians, ring doorbells, and carry off the neighbors' gates. What?
No, that is not his prerogative on Halloween. Halloween isn't boy purge.
It is his Halloween God-given right, and he will goddamn do what he pleases.
This sounds terrifying to, like, be... It's 1900 and there's roving bands of, like, boys who have the authority to play...
Any prank they want, apparently.
Yeah, which could be something like, oh, let's steal the dead body, or it could be like, oh, let's poison somebody. Like, and, like, they're jumping out at people. It's 1900 for me. I have so many layers on. You jump out and scare me, I'm definitely falling over.
So we're coming up to 1933, and parents everywhere were upset and outraged because hundreds of teenage boys were flipping over cars.
Flipping over cars?
Sawing off telephone poles.
Guys.
And just general vandalism.
Boys are out of control.
The boys are losing their minds over here.
I do not like this.
Some cities were like, should we ban Halloween? Like, this is getting bad, you guys.
Talk to the boys.
Can somebody tell these boys that they don't have just the authority to do whatever they want on Halloween in the name of prank? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Do the laws not apply to these feral boys? Like, it says they can't be pinched, but isn't that arrested? Isn't that, like, disciplined by the law? Does the law not see these boys?
Apparently not. They don't care.
Ugh.
So,
fucking boys.
In response to this wild behavior,
these feral bands of boys.
Yes. The communities started to organize activities to, like, keep the young people off of the streets and out of trouble.
Hey.
So that's where we get trick-or-treating, Halloween parties, like, this says costume parades, which I don't know what that is. And haunted houses.
You know what? I guess we gotta give it to these rowdy boys. If they weren't so uncontrollable that they forced the community into creating activities to stop them from being absolute savage nitwits.
Yep. So
that's wild to me.
Here's what the haunted house should look like.
Give it to me.
According to a 1937 party pamphlet.
Yeah.
Quote, hang old fur, strips of raw liver on walls where one feels his way to dark steps.
Fur?
It keeps going. Weird moans and howls come from dark corners. Damp sponges and hairnets hung from the ceiling touch his face.
Whose face?
Doorways are blockaded so that guests must crawl through a long, dark tunnel.
Hey!
End quote. But I thought that was pretty funny.
I love that. I want to set up that exact haunted house with the sponges and hairnets.
And fucking raw liver on the walls in the dark. What the fuck?
That is scary. You're feeling the walls and it's meat?
Yeah.
Why are the walls meat? I'm not sure if I'm scared as much as confused. Why is there also fur?
It's so wasteful.
It's very wasteful. It is the 30s. Y'all should know better.
Yeah. Things are rough enough as it is.
Why are we hanging meat everywhere? You could eat that. That is wild. I love that.
I love it too. I love it, but I'm also like, I'm upset that it even happened, but I love it.
I would give anything to go through the 1930s haunted house.
Oh my God, I bet it would be so funny.
They'd be like, why are you laughing? I'd be like,
like,
nothing,
sorry,
I
this
was
is-
scared.
This is really low tech, you guys, so I don't know. So, of course, if you're talking about haunted houses, this, most of my sources were like, yeah, the most famous one would be Disneyland's Haunted Mansion, which, you know, as we discussed last time, they started discussing in the mid-50s, and then it actually became an attraction in 1969.
Nice.
And everybody was like, haunted mansion, haunted house. So fun.
Haunted mansion, haunted house.
And then that one, as you may recall, had like a mechanical people mover compound, which was very cool for the haunted house industry.
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking.
Ground moving.
Now we're coming to more the modern day.
Ooh.
I'm about to talk to you about something that's real vile. McKamey Manor.
Ugh.
Like I said, we have boo haunts where it's like someone's going to jump out at you, but like no one's going to touch you most likely. And then over the years, you know, people have taken things to extremes, as people do with everything. And so there have been more like interactive or like more intense experiences, more extreme experiences where like at some point guests have to know that there's a safety word that they can say and like stop everything. Yeah.
Ugh.
And then you get to the line and then you cross it and you've got McKamey Manor. If like gore and people choosing to let themselves be part of a really extreme haunted house makes you feel uneasy, you should just skip ahead to Sophie's story. This is probably going to be like 10, 15 minutes. And I love you. Goodbye. Okay, so you've got the safe word. McKamey Manor does not have a safe word. They're like known for it. They're like, no, we don't have a safe word. You can say you want to leave and we will continue the experience.
What's the guy's name again?
This guy's name is Russ McKamey, and
Ugh.
he started out as kind of discussed doing haunted houses in his like own home for the neighborhood kids, for you know, people in the community. And he's been doing that, or well, he's been doing it for a lot longer now, but he was doing kind of neighborhood stuff for about 15 years roughly. And over time, those neighborhood shows got a little creepier and a little creepier. And like he says, like that people demanded scarier. Like they're like, we want to be more scared. We want to be more scared. I don't know. I don't know about that. And then basically he himself was interviewed in one of the sources that I read. I think it was the one from The Guardian, and it was from 2015, but it had some quotes from him, but they still ring true. This is what he says about his haunted house experience, which he also films and puts on like YouTube and Facebook and stuff. Quote, "We were pretending to cut hair, but YouTube critics said, yeah, fake. So thanks to the naysayers, we had to ramp it up and bring more reality to it. Every year it got more crazy, more aggressive. We wouldn't be infamous if we weren't able to deliver the product."
Ugh.
So basically, you're probably wondering, like, what is this place like? Russ McKamey is all about imposing physical and psychological stress to people, trying to like push them to their limits and eventually like break them. And the whole thing starts by signing a 40-page waiver, which I shit you not says things like you will be like kicked, punched, like you will get a black eye, we might pull a tooth out, we will cut your hair, like I'm trying to think of other things, just all, you might be waterboarded, like all kinds of terrible stuff.
It basically gives them full license to actually torture you. And this is not a legally enforceable contract.
No, definitely not.
Like, it super isn't, and it's mostly for fucking shock value, although they are incredibly rough. As I alluded to earlier, I am also fascinated by this extreme haunted house and the the details around it.
Yeah.
But this waiver is infamous online for basically listing out all the ways that they can hurt you.
Mm-hmm. And the experience has already started by the time you're signing that waiver for most people. Like they have you like, there are videos of people like sitting in mud, like, and he's like reading this waiver to them and being like, you're so stupid. I can't believe you're here. Like it's wild.
And I mean, this is a few years ago.
Yes. But it is still going on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Spoiler
alert. One thing, though, that I should mention, you get punished if you swear. Because this guy, Russ McKamey, he said in 2015 anyway, he doesn't smoke, drink alcohol or coffee, or cuss. And then he also said in that article, there's no nudity or sexual suggestion in the manor, which is technically maybe true, but I think there's it's just something you can't really describe, but like I just think he is really weird with the women that are there, and like
yes, and he has had several girlfriends who he puts through these what he calls tours,
and practices
he has filmed
on them.
Yeah, he films himself torturing these women who ostensibly consent to it, allegedly, but like if this is your boyfriend and he wants to like torture you like this, like I don't want to kink shame anybody, but like it seems like he gets a lot of enjoyment out of torturing everybody.
That's what it seems like to me. And basically his manner is turning your experience into a real life horror movie, and he posts that on YouTube and on Facebook, I assume, too. I haven't been on the Facebook page. I believe it is private. But there's a lot, obviously, like you said, there's a lot of divisiveness on the internet about this topic.
Mm-hmm. There are lots of people who dedicate, lots and lots of time on the internet to McKamey Manor.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't know if I even said, this all started in San Diego. So he moves his McKamey Manor, which is already becoming infamous, in 2017 to Summertown, Tennessee. And he also claims that he has a property in like Alabama that nobody's ever like made it to because they haven't made it through the whole experience. Oh, and there's also a quote unquote, there's a reward if you get to the end, which no one's ever gotten the reward of $20,000.
And he also claims that these runs are being live streamed to like a secret betting pool in Vegas.
That's right. Yeah.
And he will have people look into the camera and be like, say hi to Vegas. Like, Vegas is telling me to do this to you. Vegas is telling me to cut your hair. And he's claiming to live stream things like 5-7 years ago. Like,
yeah, so who knows
about his capacity to do that.
Yeah. And what I will say, what I found most compelling about the documentary is they interviewed 3 people that had done the McKamey Manor tour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And kind of asked them like, because I think a lot of people, the first thing that comes to your mind is, why would somebody volunteer for this?
Yeah. I would love to know that.
And I think that's a fair question. Like, I don't mean to be judgmental, but it's like, what makes a person want to do this?
Well, I don't think it's judgmental. I think it's curious. It's curious. I want to understand why there's a market for this.
Yeah. So one guy was a veteran. He said that he like did haunted experiences and tours and stuff because he kept wanting to push himself to the like limits of where he felt like he had been when he was on active duty. So yeah, it was really that was really eye-opening for me. Like, it's just somebody who wants to like push the limits, the boundaries of their experiences. And other people that were interviewed, it was like, I love horror movies. Like, I wanted to be immersed in one. Yeah. So I think before we say like, what the fuck? Like, why would a person do this? It's more just kind of a curiosity and like okay, what does make a person want to do this? And like, is it still ethical that it's happening, even though they are consenting to it? Like, because a waiver that says you're gonna die, like, it's not enforceable. Like,
no, not at all.
But somehow he's still been in operation this whole time. It's crazy.
I mean, people want to do it. There's people, people who are like adrenaline junkies. There are people who enjoy the stress, but I think there's a way to do it more ethically than what he's doing.
Oh, definitely. I have more of a problem with him than the people that are going to this experience.
Big time.
You know what I mean?
I have no problem with the people who want to go through this experience. I think if given the right setting and given like a safe word and like given actual parameters and boundaries, I think it might be fun to get chased in the woods. Like, that might be fun. Like, if it gets too much for me, I want to turn around to the chainsaw man and be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I want him to put the chainsaw down and be like, here's a Kit Kat. And I'll be like, thank you, Jason. Can I chase the next person with you? And he's like, yes, Sophie, come on. And then we chase the next person together.
Well, and it's like, if you want to have an experience like that, exactly, you just need to do it like in a safe way. And to be fair, though, some people jump out of planes. Some people swim in the blue hole that you told us about recently. Like,
I know.
Dive deep into the ocean. Some people go on a fucking submersible down to the Titanic. Like, they're extreme behavior in every like subculture.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like
very well put.
It's not something that I don't think should be judged super harshly. I find it really interesting, and I find Russ McKamey pretty creepy and repulsive.
He is a slimy, despicable man.
So, like I said, the documentary on Hulu, which again is called Monster Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted House, is a lot of like found footage from the videos he's posted and then interviews with people that have been to McKamey Manor, friends of this guy, Russ's. Like, it's a really interesting documentary. So, like, again, if you can like stomach it, I did have to watch it in segments because some of it was just like really, because it's like people are really scared and upset. Like, it's not like
in genuine pain.
It's not like a horror movie where they're just acting. Like, it's like, no, these people are genuinely in pain.
Yeah.
But woohoo, let's end on a positive somehow. This is, according to the website, this is what you need to do to get into the manor for this experience. Okay, so you must be 21 and above, or 18 to 20 with parental approval. What fucking parent is going to approve this?
Ugh, there are people.
He wants you to complete a sports physical and have a doctor's letter that clears you like physically and mentally. What doctor is going to clear you for this?
Yeah.
You have to pass a background check. Be screened via Facebook, FaceTime, or telephone. You have to have proof of medical insurance. You have to sign that 40-page waiver. And then you also have to pass a drug test on the day of the show.
Wow. It's almost like he doesn't want people to go through.
That's what he says in a lot of the clips that I saw. He's like, tell people not to come here. Like, it's really, it's scary, but it's fascinating. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
It's change. It's also like a thing that's like ever changing. Like, yes, it was this horrific like experience for the longest time. But I think since he's moved out to this next place, you were talking about how no one's ever gone to this like third location.
Well, some people think that it might not even exist. Like, it might just be like smoke and mirrors, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that like these days he puts people through all these rigorous exercises.
Yeah, it's really weird now because there used to be quote unquote actors who volunteered to like basically torture people with Russ. And now it's just Russ.
And he like brings you out to his property and you have to wear a onesie. And he makes you do a bunch of exercises in these like dirty cages.
Yeah, it's just really creepy, and just it feels unsafe.
Yes.
And so it's like, I don't want anybody to go there, regardless of if they want to or not. I just don't think it should exist as an option. because there's no safe word. They're not even paying for it. So technically he's not like committing a crime, I guess, because no money. He's not committing like a crime where there's money changing hands.
I mean,
I don't know. So it's just.
It's not a scam in the traditional sense, but he, like I was hinting to, I've been watching a lot of videos on this as well, because there's been a recent, like, TikToker who went and took this tour this year. And, like, he filmed his entire experience, but it's not a haunted house anymore. It's just, like, crawling through a field with a barrel strapped on your back. It's like being submerged in this dirty cage in water. And apparently, you know, to win the prize money, this $20,000 that we were talking about, you have to keep enduring this. And he'll just go for hours and hours and hours, and you cannot win.
Yeah, because this was something that was brought up in the documentary. Like, they say that it can go on for up to like 10 hours, but either people will quit, or if they get close to it, he'll say like, "Oh, you're not fit to proceed. Like, you have to stop."
Or you cheated, or like
something. Yeah, I don't know.
Something. There's no way to win. He just enjoys watching people in pain, and that's the scariest part.
Yeah. Well said. Y'all, don't go there, please. I beg of you.
Enjoy yourself a nice, wholesome, family-friendly, or slightly more adult haunted house that is not gonna get you hurt. And if you see anyone who looks like a pervert, run the other way.
Yeah, please.
I know that's very judgmental, but you use your best judgment on that one.
Hey, if it's about safety legitimately, like, act first, ask questions later. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, while you contemplate what spooky activities you'll be doing
not doing,
we're going to take a quick ad break.
Hey, podcast lovers. My name is Haley, and I run the Don't Identify podcast. I have been passionate about helping the unidentified get their names back ever since I found out I lived within miles of where Sherry Ann Jarvis, formerly known as the Walker County Jane Doe, was found. In my podcast, I tell the stories and provide information about unidentified people in hopes of reaching their loved ones and getting their names back. So come join me and help me advocate for these people. You never know, you could recognize someone's story.
Spooky activity that I will not be doing is I will not be reading from any ancient texts by candlelight under any sort of significant phase of the moon. I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from like pentagrams, black flame candles.
Oh, yeah. Well,
although I could light that. It would be okay.
It'd be fine.
If you know, you know. Well, Soph, I bet you have something really spooky to tell us about today.
I do. I think, once in a blue moon, you and I come together and we create a fun and cohesive episode.
Oh, boy.
So I have for you a bit of Halloween folklore.
Hell yeah.
Because we love folklore on this podcast, and I don't think I've talked about some in a good while.
No, yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to hear about it.
Folklore from around the world.
That's spooky and cool.
Yeah. All right, so some sources to get out of the way. We have Mental Floss, Britannica, historicmysteries.com, National Geographic, USDA.gov, and Branton Hills Farms.
Okay.
You have no idea where I'm going.
No. I love it.
All right, we're talking about the history of putting meat on the wall.
Whoa!
No.
Oh my god.
That would be wild.
You got me, really. I was like, are you serious? There's a precedent for this?
Halloween prank.
That was a good one. You got me.
Thank you. It's not just the boys that can prank on Halloween.
Thank God.
All right. So a bit of Irish folklore for you on this spooky Halloween weekend.
Hell yeah.
We're going to be talking about a character called Stingy Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Stingy Jack. So, a few centuries ago in Ireland, there was a guy, and his name was Stingy Jack.
Okay. They called him that when he was alive.
I mean, they probably called it.
They called him that to his face.
To his face, probably.
Yeah.
He was a blacksmith and an absolute roustabout. A motherfucker, a real dillweed. He was the town son of a bitch.
Okay.
He would not pay his tabs and drink a bunch at the tavern and then not pay. He would play cruel jokes on people. He was just like generally disliked by the public.
Shoot.
And was just like a reprehensible dude. And so one night, his terrible behavior and his hideous reputation came to the attention of Satan himself.
Oh, shit.
And Satan was like, this guy sounds pretty bad. But, you know, he's not as bad as me. I want to know if he's as bad as everybody says. I'm gonna visit him. So one night, Jack is trampsing through the hills of Ireland, the beautiful rolling hills, under a pale, shining full moon, and he sees a corpse in the road.
Oh, shit. Is it also at a fork in the road?
Oh, you know it.
Or possibly a crossroads.
Oh, yeah. And there's a crow nearby and like a knobbly tree.
Yeah.
And like there's probably like a wolf howling at the same time.
100%.
It is premium spooky out. And Jack sees this corpse and he's like, corpse, eh? And he goes up and he looks into the face of the corpse. And it's got, you know, the wide eyes and the open mouth. And it's staring at him. And as soon as he made eye contact with the corpse, it jumped to life and became the devil.
God damn it.
I know, right?
Hate it when that happens.
I bet you didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't.
So Stingy Jack is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you the fucking devil? And the devil's like, you know it, Stingy Jack. I heard that you've been doing devilish things and that's my fucking job. So time to die. And Jack is like, shit. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And although Jack is a motherfucker and a son of a bitch, he is also clever.
Oh.
And, you know, he's been around the block before. So he says to the devil, Satan, I'll go with you to hell if you let me just have like one more drink at the pub.
Okay.
The nearest pub. And the devil's like, yeah, okay, fine. I'm thirsty too. Whatever, let's go.
Oh, that's your first mistake.
I know. I'm like, devil.
Never go to a secondary location.
Yes, never go to the secondary location with a shitty man. Come on, devil.
Exactly.
This is like first grade shit. So he goes to the tavern with the devil. They're drinking, they're vibing. They stay there till, you know, the wee hours.
Okay.
And finally it's time to pay the tab. And Stingy Jack's like, I don't have any money. Devil, you have to pay the tab. And the devil's like, I'm the devil. I don't have money. I don't carry money. I don't subscribe to the concept of money. And Jack is like, well, what are we going to do then? And he's like, well, I guess I've got an idea. Why don't you turn yourself into a coin since you're so good at turning yourself into stuff? You know, you turned yourself into that corpse back there. Why, you know, if you're so powerful, Mr. Devil, why don't you turn yourself into a coin so we can pay for our drinks and leave? And then I'll snatch you back once, you know, they close up the bar here in a couple minutes. And so the devil, seeing that this plan was sound, was like, okay, I'll show you. I can turn into a coin.
Okay.
I can turn into a coin. You think I can turn into a coin? I'll show you. And so the devil turns himself into a coin. And Jack picks him up, puts him in his pocket, where he also has a crucifix.
Shit.
So the devil is now trapped. He
Oh my
cannot
God.
turn back out of a coin. And he's in the pocket with the crucifix.
Oh my God.
A
That's
devil's
hell.
least favorite thing.
Hell on
It's
earth.
hell. Hell on earth. For the devil. And so of course, Stingy Jack, he sneaks out the fucking back door. He doesn't pay.
No.
He's not going to pay. His name isn't Mr. Pay His Bills Jack.
Stingy.
Stingy.
Stingy Jack.
And so he opens up his little pocket and he says, Devil, if you want to be free, you have to give me another 10 years of living. And the devil is like, ugh, I can't transform back into the devil until this guy takes his crucifix out of the fucking pocket, takes me out of the pocket and separates them. So he agrees because he's a very agreeable devil in this story.
Okay, cool.
And so he frees the devil. The devil pops back into his little horny form. And he's like, I'll see your ass in 10 years. And
Okay.
Jack is like, I'll be there.
Okay.
And so 10 years goes by. And Jack is hanging out, trotting down the country lane again, as he is wont to do. And turns around. It's the devil. He back.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
He's back. You knew this was coming.
Time to pay the piper.
Time to pay the piper. That's a different story.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
devil is like, all right, buddy, deal's a deal. You got to come with me to hell. And Jack is like, fair enough. We made a deal and I'm an honorable guy. Psh. So he says, but can I please have an apple before I go? And the devil's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, guy. And the guy's like, come on, I'm gonna be dead. I won't be able to eat anything. Like, let me have an apple and I'll go peacefully. I'll go quietly. No tricks, no nothing. And the devil goes, I guess. Fine. And so he's like, okay, I'm just gonna go get an apple from this nearby apple tree.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. And so he goes and he starts climbing up the apple tree. But tricky little Jack had used the sticks around to create a bunch of crucifixes around the base of the apple tree and then carved one into the apple tree and then hung out in the top of the apple tree. After like 5 minutes, Devil comes over and is like, what the fuck, guy? Not again.
Then he's trapped.
Yeah.
He trapped the devil a second time.
Yeah. He's
Shit.
stingy, but he's smart.
Okay.
So the devil is like, I cannot get to him up in this holy apple tree, reinforced with so many crucifixes. And so the devil is like, okay, what do you want? And of course, Jack doesn't want to die, but he knows that's not possible. So he says, I don't want to go to hell.
Okay.
He says,
fair.
don't take me to hell. I'll die, but don't take me to hell. And I'll release this curse thing. And so the devil is like, I'm done fiddle fucking around with this guy. Fine. And so he says, I'll see ya when you die. Jack says goodbye to the devil. The devil says goodbye to Jack, thoroughly bamboozled again by this clever man. So time goes by, and unfortunately, Jack succumbs to his drinking and he passes away.
Okay.
And when he passes away, the devil appears to him and he says, hey, devil, I cannot go to hell. And he's like, you're right. Go on up to heaven then. And so Jack goes up to heaven and he's like, pearly gates, here I come. I am the best. Jack has won. Everything is great for Jack. And he gets up to St. Peter and St. Peter goes,
You can't come in.
you can't come in. What the fuck? No.
Oh, no.
He didn't say fuck because he's in heaven, but he said, sir, you cannot come here. And he
Right.
says, okay, ask God. And God comes over and he goes, oh, no, I know exactly who you are. You're Stingy Jack.
Uh-oh.
And you've done a lot of fucked up shit. He can swear because he's God. You can't come into heaven. That's just, you're just not the kind of person that can come into heaven. I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
you're
God.
not
I'm not
sorry.
sorry.
I'm God and I'm not sorry. And Jack goes, well, what? And God goes, well, Devil and I have talked about it. And you are going to roam the earth forever with just this little ember in your hand to guide your way.
Whoa.
Hey, that's what you get when you fool the devil twice and you try to sneak your ass into heaven.
I
and
guess.
you're bad for your whole life.
Wow. Yeah, Jack, you really had it coming, buddy.
He did. And you know, he's cursed to carry this little ember and it's hot on his hands, right?
Yeah. Ouchie.
And so he's like, what can I do? What can I do? So he finds a turnip.
Okay.
And he carves, you know, little holes for the light to come out. And he puts the ember in the turnip and makes himself a little lantern.
Okay.
So in Ireland, in conjunction with this story, around this time of year, Irish people have had the tradition of carving turnips into scary looking faces to ward away Stingy Jack.
Oh my
and
God.
They put little candle inside of the turnip.
Oh my God.
So this tradition lasted through a long time, and it's actually an old pagan tradition to carve faces into like fruits and vegetables to scare away evil spirits.
Okay.
And this story also, the story of Stingy Jack, also serves as kind of an explanation for strange lights that people will see sometimes all over Ireland. These will-o'-the-wisps,
Okay.
you know, which are actually just combustible gases.
Oh, I didn't know
Making
that.
a little light. But, you know, it's said that Stingy Jack would be frightened away by these, you know, little lanterns made of turnips. And so it became a integral part of Irish tradition. So when the Irish came over to America in the 19th century, they brought with them this tradition. But
Okay.
instead of turnips and potatoes and other root vegetables that they were familiar with, what's a big vegetable that we have here in the States?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin! So this tradition of carving faces into pumpkins and putting a light inside comes from, in part, this tradition of Stingy Jack. This is where
That's-
we get the Jack-o'-lantern.
Holy shit. We've come full circle here. My mind is blown.
Check your fucking email for some pictures of some traditional jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh my God. So these must be turnips.
They're absolutely turnips. I've sent Katelyn some original pictures of jack-o'-lanterns, traditional Irish jack-o'-lanterns, which are terrifying and also kind of hilarious. They look like they're in pain.
Here's what it is for me. It's a combination of Lord Voldemort in like his like
Oh my God, yes. Is full
nasty form.
no nose era.
And also a little bit Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know what? Yeah, I see it.
Oh my God, these are hysterical. I love it.
You know who else helped to popularize the jack-o'-lantern in America?
I'm not sure who.
Our guy Washington Irving with his seminal tale, Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, sure. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, published in the
I'm drawing a
1800s.
blank.
No, we've talked about Sleepy Hollow a lot.
We have.
But his head is, of course, a jack-o'-lantern.
That's right.
And so it became something of a staple for Halloween decoration, of course, extending into this day. There is also a bit in my story about kids taking these jack-o'-lanterns in the early days of Halloween. This is why I was laughing so hard at the boys, because it's hilarious and also terrifying.
Yeah.
But one of the things these roving bands of boys would do, thank you for completely explaining this for me, is that one prank the more rural boys would do is make jack-o'-lanterns and go put them out into the woods to scare the shit out of people.
Oh my God. That is genius. I thought you were going to say like throwing them in the street, but that's just a modern thing that
I'm sure they
little
did that
jerks
too.
do.
I'm sure the first person to toss the pumpkin into the street was early in the Halloween canon.
Inspired by Sleepy fucking Hollow.
Oh, yeah. But also piggybacking on your earlier quote, one of the earliest records that we have of jack-o'-lanterns being an absolutely essential part of any good Halloween party is a quote from a review in the Atlanta Constitution in 1892, which described a party that was at the home of Atlanta Mayor William Hemphill. And it says, quote, "Never in the annals of Atlanta society has a more unique and brilliant entertainment been given, with decor showcasing all sorts of smiling lanterns made of pumpkins carved cleverly with faces." Jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's plain as day.
Plain as day. And this tradition, of course, continues into the modern day, as we were just talking about carving jack-o'-lanterns mere minutes before at the beginning of this podcast. And so I thought that I would round out
Hey, yo.
sorry, this segment with some pumpkin fun facts.
Love it. Hit me with it.
So, did you know that all United States produce some pumpkins, but only 6 of them lead production of pumpkins by weight?
Oh.
Can you guess the top pumpkin producing state in the United States? I'll give the listener time to think as well.
Why do I feel like it might... Is it, I don't know. I'm blanking, but is it Washington?
It is not. We are not even in the top 6.
Oh, I thought like the soil has to be fertile.
Well, you know where it's very fertile?
California?
Illinois.
What the fuck?
I know. Illinois is the biggest producer of pumpkins.
I didn't see that one coming. Okay.
Neither did I. The Guinness World Record holding pumpkin pie had a diameter of 20 feet and weighed 3,699 pounds.
Holy shit. That is like a yacht, but it's a pie.
Yeah. That is a pumpkin pie yacht.
Yeah. That is a small swimming pool that's just a pie.
God, I would love to swim in a pumpkin pie.
I was thinking about that too, and I wouldn't mind that either.
My last pumpkin fun fact is that a man named Trevor Hunt holds the Guinness World Record for most pumpkins carved in an hour. He carved 109 pumpkins in 60 minutes, or 33 seconds per pumpkin.
What does that mean? Like he carved a face into it and it was already like hollowed out?
It had to have been, because if I'm Mr. Pumpkin Man, you know, it's got to be some sort of carving.
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought it was so interesting how, you know, this folklore from Ireland gave birth to this absolute Halloween staple for us Americans.
Oh, yeah, completely. Oh, that's so wild. Thank you for telling me that.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for choosing an almost perfect companion topic. Haunted houses and jack-o'-lanterns. What's more Halloween than that?
Is that the name of the episode? Haunted houses and jack-o'-lanterns?
I mean,
Two on the nose?
People what they want. You want a haunted house and jack-o'-lanterns?
We'll give it to you. Thanks everyone for listening. We hope that you're going to have like a super fun and safe and spooky Halloween weekend. And hey, if you're doing something on Halloween Day, which is a Tuesday this year, like, good for you, but what are you doing?
Well, what you should be doing is making sure you're staying away from any roving bands of feral boys.
Agreed. And if you happen to be a young boy, a man, or someone with mischief on their mind, maybe you'll think twice about going out and pulling pranks on people.
Because remember where pranks got Stingy Jack.
That's right. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween! And Bon Voyage! Woo!
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter.
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
At Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Hello and welcome to Bones Radio, the only radio with 206 bones. I'm your host, Skeleton Sophie.
And I am also here. And I'm, I don't know. What starts with a K?
Well, Cranium Katelyn.
Oh, let me take that again. And I'm Katelyn. Wait. Okay, one more. Take 3.
You got this.
Hey, and I'm Katelyn. I can't do it.
You can do it.
This is so unnatural.
Smooth radio voice, Cranium Katelyn.
Howdy there. This is Cranium Katelyn, and it only took me 55 years to get my radio voice right and ready. An actor is always ready, and I failed myself today.
Well, good thing we're already in the grave. We're coming at you live from a tomb.
Happy Halloween.